foundation for the Florida Alliance for Arts Education, a key player in the development, helping us build what we have become today, has been Frank Brogan. And we're going to hear from Frank in just a minute, but I'd like to tell you just a little bit about who Frank Brogan is. Currently, Frank Brogan is the Chancellor of the State University System for the state of Florida. But, you know, he really earned his way through that pathway. He started as a classroom teacher. He went on and became a school principal. He worked in Martin County and made lots of amazing things happen there as he moved through the ranks and on up to become Florida's Commissioner of Education under leadership of, well, later he became under the leadership with Jeb Bush as they formed some changes in the education system in Florida. After a few years as commissioner, then Frank became Florida's lieutenant governor. You may remember those great years. And Frank was very involved with the Florida Alliance in helping us to develop programs, to develop relationships that have been ongoing and have been very important to the work that we have done through these years. After spending 5 years as Lieutenant Governor, the Board of Trustees of Florida Atlantic University said, we want this guy, and we need him to be president of Florida Atlantic University. And so he left the position of Lieutenant Governor to become the president at Florida Atlantic University. And you know, when he was there, he did amazing things for that university, not only raising its academic standards, improving the diversity in both its student population and staff and faculty within the university, increasing its status to a research institution, and doing all kinds of things that are critically important, including really connecting the university to the community, one of the founding kinds of things that we are interested in the Florida Alliance. He has always had a heart for arts education, and he has always been very supportive of the arts in every walk of life and in every aspect of the work that we do. Frank is a native of Ohio, and I know that there are some Ohioans here. He received his degree up there in Ohio at the University of Cincinnati, and then he went on to get a master's degree at Florida Atlantic University. So he has really helped to shape the Florida Alliance for Arts Education and the pathway for arts education in the state of Florida. So it's a great pleasure to introduce to you and share with you my dear friend and our colleague, Frank Brogan.
Thank you. And first of all, you'll all join me when I say this. Cheer up, will you, Mary? I tell you, being around Mary Palmer for about 5 minutes, it doesn't matter what kind of day you had, maybe what kind of year you've had, you can't be around Mary for very long without just feeling better, even if you start out feeling great. And she is among many of my dear friends that I've acquired over a long, long period of time. Along with those others in the room, and it's great. When I came in, I couldn't believe how many of the people that I know here and have had alliances with over so long. The notorious liar and scoundrel Bill Nolan counted among them. Pete, you and I go back a week or two, I guess. Christine, it's great to see you. And once I start, I won't be able to stop. So just let me say, with all of the friends who are here, I'm still trying to figure out the way the agenda was laid out. I talked to Jennifer just a few moments ago, and she and I have worked together for years too. And Jennifer said, now we're a little pressed for time because of the schedule, but we're ready to put you on. And I said, good, I'm ready to go whenever you're ready for me. I said, how long would you like me to speak? She said, oh, listen, you speak as long as you like. We're leaving at 2 o'clock. But you speak as long as you like. Then I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall during the diabolical meeting that laid out the agenda for this luncheon. We'll start with these amazing award winners, not only who have done an array of incredible things in the world of the arts and education, but each has a a breathtaking and wonderful story to tell as they do that. Then we'll have this great lunch. And by the way, after lunch, we're going to have a young lady who is a Vita. All right? She's going to do this most amazing and memorable rendition of Don't Cry For Me, Argentina. And that'll pretty much wrap it up. Oh, no, wait. We got to jam Brogan in there somewhere. Well, hang him on at the end. That'll be fun. Thanks a lot to everyone who worked so hard on this thoughtful agenda. You know, I am a biological phenom that stands in front of you. No, I am not a dancer, but I have a 6.5-year-old son. Now, for the younger crowd in the room who are sitting there going, isn't adoption a wonderful thing? No, he's mine. He's actually mine. And that same young crowd is going, no way. Yes, it is biologically possible. My wife and I have a 6-year-old son who is the apple of our eye and a most amazing young chap. He has his mother's incredible good looks. He has his mother's amazing mind. He is a very bright young man. And if he gets my teeth, he'll be the whole package. We sort of offer guys what we can. No, it's another biological phenomenon. And he's a wonderful little boy. We always have this repartee that we go through, and I always tell the story. His name is Colby John. Colby after my wife's only brother, who was killed in an automobile accident when he was 20, and John after my twin brother, who is very much alive, and his godfather and his uncle. So he is Colby John. This is the South. 2 names are okay. You can have 2 names in the South. It's all right. Colby John is very bright, and we go through this repartee. For example, I tell my friends, I will say, Colby John, would you pick up your toys and put them on the table? It's time to eat dinner. Colby John, would you pick up your toys and put them on the table? It's time for dinner. Colby John, Dad, I'll put them on the table. And then I will say, and yet they remain on the floor. Right? Moms, dads, you know what I'm talking about, right? Well, I was in the kitchen not long ago, and the little 6-year-old walked up behind me, and I was cleaning a chicken for dinner, cutting it up. And Colby John said, Dad, can I have a drink of water? And I said, sure, son, but you got to hang on a minute. I'm up to my ears in chicken here. He waited a second and said, Dad, can I have a drink of water? And I said, Colby John, I'm cutting up a chicken. I'll get you the water. And he said, Dad. I said, Colby John, I'll get you the water. And he said, and yet I have no water. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. I suppose is the message there. Colby John just finished kindergarten. Okay? And he is down in Stuart, Florida, which we're in Tallahassee, but he's actually now down in our home in Stuart, Florida, spending the summer there. We had a choice to make. He was finished with kindergarten. Do we let him backpack Europe, or do we let him stay in Stuart and go to the beach and swim before he starts to take on the real thing, first grade, and all that goes along with it? So he's down there with his mom, enjoying the summer. And he is a remarkable young man. When he got home on his last day of kindergarten, he brought home, as children do, lots of the things that they had done during the course of the year. You know, accordion folders full of things, great stuff that they do in kindergarten. And he began to show me what he had in the portfolio. And we got to some of the pictures that were in the portfolio, and then as we got through his, I noticed some professional work. And I'm not kidding, he would pull one out and he said, Matisse did this. And because I didn't know, I looked on the back, and sure enough, he was right. It was Matisse. He pulled out another one and he said, Mondrian. And I turned it over, and it was Pete Mondrian. And he pulled the next one out and he said, Grace. I turned it over, and scrawled in blue crayon was the name Grace. And I said, Grace? He said, she kisses me on the playground all the time. Which goes to show you that art, it really is where you find it. But the other message there is he has an amazing art teacher at his school. Not just the fact that he was able to name the artists of these incredible works, but the fact that at his school, art is an integral part of the curriculum. Not just the art curriculum, but integrated into the curriculum. I've had the chance today to be with some of the fellows from the Bush Foundation. And of course, the name of the game is integration of the arts. How can we make the arts a vital part of what happens in a child's educational experience? Not just a Christmas tree ornament that gets hung on the educational experience, but is actually rooted and grounded in what they do every single day, whether they do it in the presence of the actual art teacher or remain in the classroom, that the arts are integrated back and forth. Bill was talking before about ownership of these kinds of activities. And believe me, it is very difficult to eliminate something that is not an add-on in people's minds, but is in the middle of what it is that they are doing. It is always hard to cut anything in education, budgets being what they are. But let's face it, if something seems a little less important, even if it's important, you can manage to wrap your mind around the fact that something's going to have to go, and unfortunately, it's going to have to be that. If the arts become centralized and a focus of what we do, what we believe, not just an addition to the curriculum, but the curriculum, then when these difficult decisions have to be made, it becomes virtually impossible to exorcise something that is a nucleus of what it is that is happening in the teaching and learning experience. Now, it is work. Anyone who has ever worked on integrating a curriculum and bringing the arts into the center of it understand it isn't just the passion of the arts community. Oftentimes you have to sell classroom teachers. Now, this is not to say they are a problem. These are talented, experienced, and dedicated, passionate people. But let's remember, they are focused on what happens in that classroom. And when you say, let's bring the arts into your classroom, the first things oftentimes we hear is, I don't have time to do what I do now. How am I going to do that too? Ah, therein lies the rub. We're not asking you to do it too. We're asking you to work with us to make it a part of what you already do. When children go to the art room in my son's class, it is nothing more than a different room. But the experience, although wrapped around the arts, is the same. They are highlighting in those artistic endeavors everything that his kindergarten teacher is doing in the other room. This is not a place where my little boy goes so that his kindergarten teacher can have a few precious moments off. This is not a place where my son goes to receive something else beyond the critical work that takes place in the kindergarten class. There is a symbiotic relationship that exists here that is hard fought, hard won, but well established.